Newman City Council Redevelopment Agency meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Hutchins, please.
Father, we thank you for this opportunity we have to be here tonight, Lord. We just ask that you will give us the wisdom as we do the city's business, as we look for the city and for our citizens. And Lord, again, we just thank you for this day, and we thank you for this beautiful weather we've been having. And just ask this all in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
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 Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Davis.
Present.
Hutchins.
Present.
Candia.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Martina.
Present.
Mayor Kate.
Present. We'll go to declaration of conflicts of interest. Seeing none, we'll move to item 6, ceremonial matters. Presentation by Stanislaus. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Report out first.
No, we don't have to report. There's nothing to report out in our closed session. Correct?
We take no reportable action.
Okay. I had the wrong paper in front of me. Ceremonial matters. Presentation by Ken Wilkerson with Ames regarding our liability claims process and procedures. Kim, please. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. My name is Ken Wilkerson. I'm the program director for the program that the city belongs to. They belong to an organization called the Central San Joaquin Valley Risk Management Authority. It's a group of 55 cities that were organized a number of years ago. It originally started back in 85, 86 with 12 cities, which has grown to 55 cities now. The firm I work for, Ames, is the third-party administrator for claims for liability. I work out of Fresno. We have an office in Modesto that handles the claims in our area up here. We have an office in Bakersfield and Tulare that handles the southern claims. Claims procedure, normally what happens, an individual that has a claim against the city will come in and ask for a claim form or present some kind of a written notice to the city saying that they've been injured or they've had property damage or something to that effect. There are certain requirements that the government code requires be completed on that form. Once that's been done, it comes into my office in Fresno and a copy goes to our Modesto office. I look at it to make sure the claim is sufficient, to make sure it meets the qualifications to be a sufficient and non-defective claim. At that point, I give an assignment to the adjuster in the Modesto office to do the investigation in regards to the incident itself. We will then contact the city to get information from them, and then we will also go out and do independent work to contact witnesses and get statements and that type of thing on it. Once that's taken place, action is taken on the claim in the form of a rejection. The city council will take action on a claim and reject it, and at that point, a letter goes to the individual advising them that the claim has been rejected, and it gives them a certain length of time, if they disagree with that rejection, in which they can file a legal action to protect their own interests. If they do not file a claim, if they don't file an action within that 6-month period of time, they're barred by law from proceeding any further with that claim. It is now stopped. If a claim comes in that's late, there are certain procedures that have to be gone through. Some claims may be accepted as being late claims, but most of them are not. There are a few areas in which you have to accept a late claim, the primary one being a minor that's involved in it. But that individual still has to file a claim within a 6-month period of time. If they don't do it that period of time, they have an additional 6 months the court will allow them. But if it's more than 1 year, they're also barred by law from making any further claims that way. The adjusting firm, Ames, will try to evaluate the claim, give information to the city as to what we found out, and ask for what we call settlement authority. We try to evaluate the claim and make a resolution on that claim by advising the city of what our thoughts are. If there's what we call comparative negligence, which means that the other party also has responsibility for what happened, then we can argue with them on that point, and it's a valid legal argument that we have with them, and try to negotiate a settlement. If we're able to do so, we get the authority from the city, and then we resolve the claim. We'll get a release from the individuals and make a payment to them, and that takes care of the case that way. The bad part is if you don't get it resolved, then you're going to get an attorney involved in it, and then we're going to have legal expenses, but we're still going to go through the same type of process. Up to that point, we've done everything we can do. We've tried to resolve it. It hasn't worked. The individual says, nope, I want more money than you're willing to offer. We have to then refer it out to a defense attorney. We go through a procedure. They go through a procedure of what we call discovery. They try to determine and confirm what we've been told already, prepare it for trial, take depositions, which are very detailed reports from the individuals, in addition to statements that we may have taken already. If it does go to trial, then you have to present your side, they present their side, and the jury comes back and lets you know whether or not you're gonna make any payments on that claim at all. Procedure-wise, that's pretty much what we do. That's a real condensed version of it, but from the standpoint of operation, it's a matter of you get it first, it comes to us, we review it, comes back out, we do the investigation, it comes back to the city so that you can decide what you want to do at that point in time, advise us to what you want to do, and then we try to resolve it from there. Are there any questions or anything I might be able to help anybody with?
Any questions from council?
Mayor, I think it's a point that should be made. I forget if Ken touched on it, but this is not insurance money. These are local dollars. These are local tax dollars that we pay out claims on. So what we've done is pulled together with 55 other cities, and we all put in a certain percentage of dollars as it's worked out by a actuary. And then if we have a low amount of claims, then we may be getting a refund for that particular year. So it's in our best interest to keep claims low and to do our best to manage those claims as best as we can, so that way we're not expending city tax dollars that don't need to be expended. So we're not in an insurance, we don't pay a premium to Ames, and then they pay things off. No, they're a third-party administrator, and there is a fee that goes along with that, but ultimately all the claims come out of city coffers. Until it reaches a threshold, then it goes into the larger pool
Correct.
of which the 55 cities are all partners on.
Correct.
Great. Well, Ken, thank you so much for making the long
My
trip from
pleasure.
Fresno.
That's fine.
Appreciate it. And,
I hope I helped a little bit.
you did.
Yes,
All
you
right.
did a lot.
You did.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to item 7, items from the public, non-agenda items. Well, since we have no public here, we'll move right on. Item 8, consent calendar. A is waive all readings of ordinances and resolutions except by title. B is approval of the warrants. C is approval of the minutes of the December 13, 2011 regular meeting. D is adopt resolution 2012, next in number, resolution rejecting the claim of Roberta Vargas. E is adopt resolution number 2012, next in number, declaring certain personal property, surplus property, and authorizing disposal and/or sale of property. F is adopt resolution 2012, next in number, resolution approving the statement of investment policy for the city of Newman. And G is adopt resolution 2012, next in number, a resolution approving the Newman Downtown Plaza Project Labor Compliance Program Annual Report.
I make a motion we accept the consent calendar as given.
I second that.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 9, public hearing. We have none this evening. 10, we'll go to regular business. 10A, adopt resolution 2012, next in number, resolution awarding a contract for the City Hall Building Improvement Project to Aaron Richardson Construction.
Make a motion we accept that.
Garner's just dying to give us a report.
I know, that's why.
There's a motion,
You have the floor. There's been no second.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Item before you tonight is consider awarding a contract for the City Hall Improvements Project to Aaron Richardson Construction. On July 29, 2011, the City of Newman purchased the Odd Fellows Building located at 938 Fresno. And on November 8, 2011, City Council authorized funding for improvements to said building. The building is planned to become the new City Hall facility, and improvements provided for in this project are 30 lineal feet of new walls constructed for one new Office of Public Works office and one for the entry into the main offices. Install 8 new security metal doors, reconstructing the front entry doors, modifications to the bathrooms and to the stair treads. City did receive sealed informal bids. Received bids were open and read on December 20, 2011 at 2 p.m. at City Hall. A total of 3 qualifying bids were submitted for this project, with the estimate for the project at $20,000. Said bids have been reviewed and found to be in proper order, with the lowest bid responsible bidder for the project being determined to be Aaron Richardson Construction, with a bid amount of $26,766. Attached to your staff report is a spreadsheet of the bid tabulation. One note that I did not include in the staff report is we would like to include a 10% contingency for other items that may pop up during construction that we hadn't anticipated. For instance, today we determined that we need an additional security door for the IT room with a passcode card. So we were asking council for an additional $2,676 for that with the staff report. Therefore, staff recommends the City Council adopt a resolution awarding the bid for the City Hall Improvement Project to Aaron Richardson Construction in the amount of $26,766 with a 10% contingency for provided for any additional construction they may need for this contract. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them at this time.
Any questions of Garner?
What are the repairs to the bathrooms?
The bathrooms, we noted that since they're public bathrooms and you walk in, that there's some screening that we need to do for protection and privacy. And so we're gonna screen the women's bathroom a little bit, put a closer on one of the doors. The men's bathroom, we're gonna increase some screening as well and put automatic closers on that.
Do you remember that conversation we had that day?
I was there. How about something I blocked out?
Additional privacy screening is what we're providing.
Gordon, I had a question. We talked about a generator at some point.
Right.
That's not in this program as far.
It's not in this part of this contract. It's something we're still evaluating. I think it's gonna be part of when we move to put the EOC in, if I remember correctly. And we're evaluating the generator and maybe even doing a portable generator with a hookup on the outside of the building that we could use one of our well sites and some of our lift stations and at the EOC if we so need to do that. So we're still kind of kicking that idea around, but we are gonna do that.
Thank you.
Council direction.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2012, next in number, awarding the City Hall Building Improvements Project to Aaron Richardson Construction with the addition of the 10% contingency.
I second that motion.
The motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item B is adopt resolution number 2012, next in number, a resolution awarding a contract for the City Hall cabling project to Advanced Data Communications.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one. Basically, the background's still the same. We purchased the Oddfellows building and we're getting it ready right now. So we went out and looked for informal bids on this one. 6 people did a walk, and we ended up getting 4 bids back for some cabling. Basically, cabling is you're going to run, Cat 5, Cat 6 cable to all the desks, and it runs your internet. And we're going to have internet phone system, voice over internet protocol will be our new phone system that we're installing. That's in this year's budget, so that'll be part of it as well. So you have to run 2 cables to all of them, and then you got to track those cables back up through the walls, through the ceilings, and back to the brain, which is your IT room, your technology room where your server's at, and where your voice box is going to be, as if you will. So again, we had a number of bidders walk the job. 4 bids came back. The low bid is by Advanced Data Communications. Our technology consultant has looked at all the bids. He did say that all the bids were in order, especially for Advanced Data. So we're recommending at this time that we award the bid to Advanced Data Communication Systems. The bid amount is $20,862.93. Again, we're asking for a 10% contingency just in case something goes out there, and that would be to a not exceed award of $23,000. So with that, and again, this is one of those ideas that we told the council, anything over 20,000, we're coming back to you. This is another project. Trying to get this one in cooperation with the Richardson contract, so that way when some of the new walls go up, you can put the cabling in before you seal them up. So there will be some coordination on both sides on that to help make sure that we can get those in there. So.
And just for the record, though, for the resolution, it's a minor discrepancy, but it says $20,862.50, and it's for $20,862.93. So just
20,862. Oh,
so we can clean that up.
okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Council direction.
I'll make a motion, we adopt resolution number 2012, next number, awarding the bid for the City Hall Building Improvement Project to Advanced Data Communications in the amount not to exceed $23,000, and authorize the city manager to execute said agreement.
I second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item C is discussion and direction regarding compliance with ABX 126 RDA successor agency.
I believe we handed out the AB 26 handbook for all of you. I'm sure you enjoy its reading. It's very entertaining and very confusing. In fact, we went to a presentation today by our redevelopment agency attorneys that occurred in Merced today, and they couldn't even answer a lot of the questions that the city have because it's so convoluted. So, with that, there is one thing that we need to do in accordance with the guideline, and there's also a guideline in your package, I believe. By January 13th of this year, we need to notify the auditor controller whether or not we are going to be a successor agency. There are some items that the successor agency will be responsible for. Essentially, let me get those out for you real quick. A lot of these are coming out right now. So, okay. So we're going to be the successor agency will be in charge of debts of the former RDIA to make sure they're all paid off. They'll make sure that all the assets are liquidated. All property taxes are directed to the local taxing agency. We have to pay all the enforceable obligations, maintain required bond reserves, remit all encumbered RDA funds to the county auditor, dispose of assets, enforce any RDA rights, collect rents, loan agreements, wind up the RDA affairs, and oversee the development of property under contract. So there's a lot of things that the successor agency has to do. Now, you've seen in the news, the city of Riverbank has elected not to be the successor agency, and the reason is they're upside down. So they're actually probably writing a thank you to all the Democrats in Sacramento because, they got a $5 million payment and they only have $4 million. It's one of those things where they're upside down on their payments. It kind of lets them off the hook. They can walk away from it. With that, there are still plenty of challenges on here. Redevelopment agencies cannot take any actions at this time, and as of January 31st, they are effectively dissolved. As of February 1st, the city would then become the successor agency, but because the two don't exist at the same time and the redevelopment agencies cannot transfer any assets, nobody really knows how those assets are going to be transferred, and title companies don't know. Nobody knows because there's no way to transfer it. If your agency can't take any actions, you can't transfer anything, and the two agencies never exist at the same time, so you can't, still, even if you could do an action, you're not existing at the same time. It's very convoluted, so I don't even know what the answer is going to be. What I do know, though, is the successor agency gets 5% admin money. So there is money there that'll help offset staff time for being part of the successor agency. Also, there's language in there that says the floor for the admin is $250,000. I don't know that we could generate that much admin cost. We'll do our best.
Yeah.
We'll do our best. I don't know that we can. But again, because there is admin available money through the tax increment, meaning we didn't sell bonds and have a debt obligation that exceeds the tax increment, the revenues that are coming in, like some cities, we're going to go ahead and recommend that we be the successor agency. I think it bids well in terms of what we're trying to achieve as part of the agency. It helps us, we do have a few assets that we want to continue to try to make sure, the ones that the council said that we're going to transfer over, those are all up for grabs because anything that didn't transfer last 2 years ago didn't get transferred. So, and title companies wouldn't transfer those things. So there's a lot of things up there. I just think it's in our best interest to be the successor agency, and because they're one, it's trusted staff, we know the system, and two, there is admin money available for staff to be reimbursed for those costs. So with that, we brought this out so that you can concur. We could do that through a minute order. Today, our attorney, Ms. Yang, indicated that she thinks at some point in time we should have dropped some kind of resolution saying we're going to be the successor agency. I know our deputy clerk says, well, a resolution is no different than a minute order, so we might as well just do it by minute order. Maybe tonight we can get a motion and a second to accept that the city will be the successor agency, and that should cover us. And the reason we're doing that is for future transactions, we then have the authority because we've accepted it.
Yeah, I think we need to memorialize it just in writing for future purposes. I agree, though, I don't think it makes a difference whether it's a minute order or resolution, but
Right.
we'll see what happens on that. I also concur with Michael for the reasoning. Unlike Riverbank, which, as Michael said, was upside down, you're not. So you also don't have, the other bad thing about being a successor agency is potential liability. But since you won't have a bunch of angry bondholders that aren't getting paid, I don't see any other potential litigation, so then no downside.
The one question that I have is, I know that the league is pushing for extensions on all these dates.
Yes.
Because they've written some, that's the other thing I did, that was fun reading, the legislation that they wrote to try to get the extension.
Mm-hmm.
Is that gonna create any problems with some of the stuff that they've thrown in there? Or have you had a chance to look at that, Michael?
Well, there's too much to track, so we just
It's
really
t- it's
leave it
so
to the
fluid
CRA.
right now.
Yeah.
The-
Some of the conversations that are going on, from what our attorneys told us today, excuse me, Tom, was there is a push. They do have good authors that are coming in, and there are a lot of people who want to be co-authors. They're saying that the governor says, well, if it makes it to my desk, I'll consider it. It needs a 2/3 vote to get there. They're not sure if it's going to get there. And the Democratic leadership has already said, hasn't taken a position. They're not behind it. They're kind of taking a wait and see approach too. So my thought is, if your Democratic leadership's not behind it, and your governor is not, coming out and saying it, it's probably a slim chance that any of that's going to really materialize.
I guess my only question, and again, it's fluid, is will it hurt us if they extend it? Is there anything in the new language that's gonna hurt us
No.
Right.
if we accept the fact that we are a successor agency?
Well, you got to remember the date they're trying to change
It's gonna pass
is
before they can
February
even get it.
1st.
Yeah, that's just, yeah.
There's no legislation for the January 13th date to change. And January 13th date is the date that you have to identify to the auditor controller whether or not you're going to be a successor agency. So that's not even being considered in any legislation right now. So that means, my opinion would be no, it doesn't change. The other question was, can we opt out of being a successor agency later if we don't agree with it? Our attorneys indicated
You wouldn't.
probably not.
Well, how
There's
long
no-
does the agency exist? Until
Until-
obligations are,
Until all the obligations are and all the debt is paid.
Well, some people's thoughts on this is that the state is gonna end up being the successor agency on anybody that does not
Right.
become a successor agency, which means
Well,
that
there
they're
are
gonna
op-
be on
There-
the hook for all the liabilities.
There are other agencies and or districts that have, if we say no, there are other districts within the county, and the county itself can elect to be the successor agency if they would like. Most of the ones that are probably saying no, we're not going to be a successor agency, is because there's no admin money, so therefore
Right.
really there's no reason for anybody to even want to challenge that, and then it automatically goes up to the state if nobody does it. Today, the conversation was the city of Los Angeles is not going to be their successor agency for their redevelopment. So it's one of those ones. Be careful what you ask for. You just might get it, and I think that's what happened to the state right now. Is they thought they were trying to pull a quick one with 26 and 27 together. You'll hear a lot of the Democratic leadership was saying right afterwards, we never intended to get rid of redevelopment.
Guess what?
It happened. Alejo from Watsonville, Watsonville's done a lot with their redevelopment agency, and in all the hearings he was touting how successful it's been in his community, but yet he, one of the ones that voted it through. Now I think he's looking back on it going, wow, it wasn't what I expected. So, because the original push, which I believe was AB 101, was to get rid of the governor's proposal to get rid of redevelopment altogether. His first push ended. It failed. So then they prepackaged AB 26 and 27 together. Remember, it was by the time it was only out there for 24 hours before it was passed. Nobody ever had a chance to look at it or review it or give comment on it, and it ended up getting passed. So, it's going to change the way local business. And in my final comment, if items of staff, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. But again, at this point in time, I think we are best suited to be the successor agency, and There is admin money, so at this time, staff is recommending that we move forward with it.
Mike, what's it gonna do with the enterprise zones?
Well, that's a completely separate item.
Okay.
So at this point in time, I don't even know that the governor brought that out in his budget.
Excuse me, I read something in an article somewhere that it, and I can't remember where it was, that it pretty much, it would abolish all the enterprise zones as well. And
I think, let me talk in my item from
Okay.
staff, and I'll
Okay.
talk something about that very thing that you
Okay.
might have heard.
okay. And real quickly, where do we stand in our RD in terms of funds? Didn't we pretty much disperse?
Yeah, we are probably, cash flow, we're probably negative 35,000. Now, we have assets, loans that are coming back to us, and a few other things that make us fiscally positive. Basically, the way it's going right now, we have a 550,000 in revenues a year. Our debt obligation on our bonds is about $275,000, so.
We're okay.
Okay, well, I'll make a
We were.
motion that we become the successor agency for the, whatever we're gonna call it.
Second the motion.
A motion by Councilman Hutchins, second by Councilman Candia. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Well, unfortunately, our supervisor is not with us this evening. It's too bad. So we'll skip over him this time. Go to item 12, items from the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, not a lot. I think maybe I'll touch on the bright spot. You want the bright spot first or last?
Why don't we go with bad news, then go bright spot?
Okay, we'll go bad
Finish on a
news
good note.
first. Okay. Bad news is, we lost our lawsuit. California Redevelopment Agencies and against Monsanto, and we lost that one. But what's even worse, I just want to read you a little blip from the ruling by the California Supreme Court. And for those out there who haven't heard this, you may be a little bit shocked, and for those up on the dais, you should be scared. Really, you should be scared. So, in particular, this is on page 21 of the ruling. In particular, if a political entity has been created by the legislature, it can be dissolved by the legislature. Okay? And then it goes on to say, in our federal system, the states are sovereign, but cities and counties are not. In California as elsewhere, they are mere creatures of the state and exist only at the state's sufferance.
Are we slaves?
We are. We are there to serve them. Read that again. In our federal system, the states are sovereign, but cities and counties are not. In California and elsewhere, they are mere creatures of the state and exist only at the state's sufferance. Also, for those who like constitutional law, it's very interesting that the powers of the federal government are granted to them in the Constitution. Only those powers that are expressly identified in the Constitution shall the federal government have. Under our state constitution,
The other way around.
the legislature has all legislative powers except those that are expressly withdrawn from it. So they do it the other way. We can do anything we want unless the Constitution says we can't. So I think it's very interesting from that piece. So, and then reading on the second thing again, because we are mere creatures of the state and exist only at their sufferance. The number, this is again a citing that the California Supreme Court said, the number, nature, and duration of powers conferred upon these corporations and the territory over which they shall be exercised rest in the absolute discretion of the state. The state, therefore, at its pleasure, may modify or withdraw all such powers, expand or contract the territorial area, unite the whole or part of it with any other municipality, repeal the charter, and destroy the corporation. So, they could come, that if you really read into that, basically what they're saying is we're going to move you to regional government. They're saying now if they wanted to, they could make us incorporate and take in Gustine or Crow's Landing or Patterson take in us. If they don't like what we're doing, they could dissolve us and say, you're no longer a city, Newman. The state has absolute power over us. They can do anything they want to us. That's basically what this court. It couldn't get any worse for the citizens of this state, at least for local government. If you're not scared, you should be, because this is something that just gives the legislation. They're not scared of anything now. They're not scared of anything anymore. The state just told them that they can do away with us if they don't like us. Heck, they could do away with Orange County if because they see a big coffer of money over there. They don't need to have a reason. So it's very scary. It's I think it's really going to change the relationship, I think, between local government and state government. I think the way governments are funded is changing. The city of Turlock did a presentation about where your tax dollars go. They forward that PowerPoint presentation onto us, our finance director and myself. We're working on that, and we're going to do that PowerPoint presentation to you either at the next meeting or the meeting after. You're going to be very shocked at where all the money goes. You'll be very shocked. Less than 1% of the tax dollars generated by the citizens of this city actually go to the city. Less than 1%. I think most people would be shocked to hear that. And if you think about it, who provides 90+% of the services to the residents on a daily basis? We do. Water, sewer, storm drainage, roads, public safety, all of this. We provide all those services on a daily basis on less than 1%. So that's for the next presentation. That'll annoy you too. So last week was a really challenging week, I think, for a lot of us city managers, because it really, we had to take a step back and really look at how are we, going to be charged with delivering the services to our residents. I mean, our residents have come to expect a high level of customer service from us. We're going to be challenged here from here on out. I think the state has carte blanche on us now. Really, and the city managers in this county are really, we're ready for a fight. It's going to have to get down to it. They're the big bully, and they've been pushing us around for a long time. But unless we get a city like Los Angeles and San Diego and San Francisco to jump on board, we really don't have a chance. So with that, that's my bad news. Not very good. But
Have they ever read the Declaration of Independence? They ought to read it sometime.
they haven't even read the Constitution, which is our, so
I mean-
I don't know. They're really fixed on it.
I mean, it's sad.
Yeah, it is. It's a sad day, but and then the bus, the bus is driving over a cliff and we're all on it, and they're in the driver's seat.
No. We don't do that.
Yeah.
No, we don't. You drive. You stay in the bus.
No,
I'm
but
getting
we're
off.
on their bus.
I'm getting off. The bus.
We're on their bus, Bob. I mean, look at the budget. Look at the budget.
I know.
It's
I know
$2
what
billion
you're saying. I know
under,
exactly what you're
$9
saying.
billion next year. He's trying to do a tax increases.
But there's got to be some way to beat them.
Well, it's gonna have to be done legislatively, and
Got to be some way to beat them.
it's gonna.
It doesn't get better until Los Angeles, San Diego, and the likes of them get on board. Now, there's another lawsuit that's filed, and it's been filed by the city of Cerritos and some of the redevelopment agencies down south, and they're still challenging AB 26 on different grounds. I'm not real familiar with it. I did download that this week, but I've been really consumed in the other stuff. So, but that one's going to just drag out in court for years. They're not going to fast track it. So I don't.
That's another one where I think it was last Friday, they filed a request for a stay to kind of do the same thing
They take 'em off.
as the legislative fix, and that is to extend the time. So maybe we'll get that
Right.
judicially.
Is there any opportunity to take this federal? Or is the state Supreme Court the final decision that we're going to accept, or that the league is going to accept, I should say, since they filed it along
That
with
was
the
a
cities?
first question I asked, and there has not been one iota of discussion on taking it to the Supreme Court, U.S.
I
Supreme
think it
Court.
should go to the Supreme Court.
Because, I mean, let's face it, constitutionally, they look at it one way, and if the state's looking at it the other way, and especially if it comes out of California, it's liable to get overturned anyway.
Yeah, and I think the question then becomes is what federal statute or what constitutional amendment is being violated by the state
It's,
under this
like I said,
thing.
and I was on a conference call with 400 city attorneys last week, and there was not.
Really,
Couldn't
because
come
they're going to use it under the state's the powers granted to the state in the federal constitution.
Yeah.
Which is saying this is a state issue, this isn't
Yeah.
a federal issue, so therefore the chances of the United States Supreme Court hearing it are probably
I think
Low.
they're afraid of it's going to be just like the ruling on AB X127, where they used Prop 22 against us
yeah.
to make that ruling, which is the ultimate irony.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the second piece of that. We talked about that was the ruling on 26, but it did have a sister bill, and that was AB 27, which said you can stay alive if you make these ransom payments. Well, unfortunately, Proposition 22 outlawed those ransom payments, so they came back and look. This will be my own personal opinion on this one, though, but the states have lost. The state court system has probably lost $1 billion over the last couple of years. Don't think it's lost on those judges. On the
I could say that. I couldn't. I'd be
Yeah.
in trouble.
So, to say that politics did not play a part in this decision, I think would be a fallacy. I think it definitely did play a part in it, but whether we can ever approve that or not, and it doesn't matter at this point because we are where we are. We just have to figure out how we're going to move forward with it. And so, but at this time, based upon your decision tonight, we'll be the successor agency, and we'll make it work as best we can. And we haven't survived
You
120.
say up to 250,000.
We haven't survived 124 years without being resourceful here in Newman, and we will continue to be resourceful. So, it's just like the admin citation process that we had that, the state didn't like that because we were taking money from them, so they passed legislation and outlaw that. So with that, the good news. We received our electric car grant, so we'll be getting $100,000 to purchase electric vehicles.
That the state can come and take away from us. When they dissolve us.
When they dissolve us as a city. So
It's an electric car?
we're doing a variety of things. We have some electric vehicles. Some are gators, with John Deere gators that are used by public works staff.
Yeah, I didn't
And
hear
at this
you.
point in time, we have identified electric vehicles as well that could be used by City Hall and other members of staff. And we're going to kind of look into make sure that the ones that we select are long-term reliability is strong. There are cities, the city of Davis has a lot of electric vehicles, so we're going to be talking with some of their staff to make sure whatever we select doesn't cost us a lot of money in the long run by replacing batteries and the like. So with that, I could answer any questions that you may have right now.
Any questions, Michael?
Thanks for sharing.
Great, Mike. Really appreciate that.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Okay, items from staff. Stephanie, jump right on up. The quiet one.
Give us the good news.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Just wanted to give you a brief update on what Community Development Department's doing. We're starting work on our non-motorized transportation plan. Back in December, the council approved the agreement with the consultant. We're currently developing a committee for input and discussions, which will consist of both staff and public members. If anybody's interested in joining the committee, please let me know, and I'd be more than happy to involve anybody who'd like to be part of it. The CDBG Consolidated Plan and Annual Action Plan process is underway. We've already held one public meeting back in November. We've already distributed over 150 surveys to the community, and we will be having those plans presented to you in the next few months. So that's an important thing. The consolidated plan's every 5 years, so that's a biggie. Kind of outlines everything we're doing with the CDBG money and things like that. The PG&E streetlight replacement will be underway in the next few weeks. I got the confirmation email from PG&E today. We're on the official work order list. They've got the order of cities. We're right around the middle. So you'll start seeing some PG&E crews out here replacing the ballasts on a number of streetlights from whatever they are now to LED. So it'll be nice. It'll save the city money in PG&E and also more efficient, and they're brighter lights. So it'll be really nice to, increase safety and visibility in the evening. Just a quick update on the dog park. I talked to Claire. They've actually been doing a lot of stuff out there. They had irrigation, all the pipes and sprinklers donated. It's already been trenched and graded. Through Public Works, they were able to get some rubber bark. So they're going to have rubber bark for all the way around. They got some gravel donated. The fence is completely installed now. And then through a recycled plastic grant, we were able to get them little waste stations. They've already poured cement pads for seeding. So she's come a long way. I think she's waiting until the spring for the hydro seed, but sounds like she's got almost everything donated. So it's really coming along. So they're doing a lot of work out there.
I drove by there day before yesterday just because I was curious. I hadn't been out there in a while, and I was surprised it really has come a long way.
Yeah. She and a lot of her, associates have just done a lot, and she's got connections. I don't know how she got that stuff donated, but kudos to her. We recently sold an NSP home, and that person also took advantage of our first-time home buyer program. It was really great. She's a single mom, 2 kids, has a job. It's just one of those stories you're happy to see because that's what the programs are designed for. So we're really excited that they got a place. Another NSP property is going to loan committee, I believe, in about a week. So we hope to have that sold soon. And we've actually been getting increased interest in our housing programs. I've been getting a lot of phone calls, a number of applications for our first-time home buyer. So, it's a good sign that people are wanting to buy. So, yeah, happy to answer any questions.
Questions of Stephanie? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Chief? Lou?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Councilmember Martina, earlier you had asked about length of time on our new RDA. The bonds will be paid off in August 1st of 2027. So for 15 years, we could collect admin costs, which would be great. That'll help us along for quite a while. Also, the other thing too is should the RDA and the successor agency change in the future, they decide to bring it back in some other form, we'd be in a better position to modify and be able to continue it. Also, you noticed our investment policy last year. We decided to let's move some money into Chandler Asset Management. And they did fantastic for us, returned about 2.2% versus LAIF, which is about 0.38. So on the $5 million we moved in there, we brought in almost $100,000, and that's in book value. Market value right now is about $136,000 profit on that. So other than that, answer any questions you have.
Lou. Any questions, Lou? Thanks. Appreciate it. Gardner, anything? Ted Short, anything? No? Okay. Don.
Next week I'll be going up to Sacramento. The league has put me on the Housing and Economic Development Committee for the League of Cities, so that ought to be interesting. What development and what economy. But it'll be my first meeting, so it'll be interesting to find out exactly what some of the other cities are looking at as we are, and hearing some more ideas.
Great. Roberta?
I don't have anything.
Nick?
Nothing.
Bob?
I have nothing here.
The only thing I have is, thanks to Captain Borden, the kid's gonna go far in this department.
Corporal.
Captain Borden?
Yeah,
Captain Borden.
Captain?
Okay, I don't have anything, so with that, we're adjourned.
Does he have one of those for everybody?